Hello, everyone. Hello, Scott. Hello, Amani. I assume that you're both excellent.
Yes, thank you. I assume you both are excellent too, and Ryan and Joy.
Yes, we all are. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, good to be here with you all. Okay, so let's get on with the lesson. Welcome to Unburdened. And if you look at it, the experience of Unburdened is to be one where you're free from guilt, shame, and fear, and you're free into living your highest potential. Let me make reference to a movie two, that I had seen in recent times. Well, actually, recent times would be more like 3 or 4 months ago when I watched this first movie I want to mention. Okay, then I even finished watching it. Okay, because we're still, yeah, so maybe even 5 months ago. Still recent times anyway. So with respect to the first movie, it is Smallville. That's the name of the movie. Smallville. And that movie is about Superman, his first days on Earth, the amazing Clark Kent. Of course, there were a lot of things about that story. It showed different aspects of his life, friendship, his upbringing, how he had to cope and survive amongst friends, his many trials and torments. In fact, it was almost always exposed to risks and dangers that could actually kill him, because he was almost always exposed to kryptonite throughout the season, throughout the series, especially in the earliest times. It was until sometime later when he began to get to his potential that kryptonite also began to be far from him when he moved to the city, away from Smallville to Wealthy City. Now, there is something funny about Superman. Okay, what is the most unique ability of Superman that you are familiar with? Just put it in the chat. What is his most unique ability or superpower that you're familiar with? That's like when they say Superman, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, please put in the chat because I want to mention something about what you might think it is. Is it his laser vision? Is it his strength? Or is it his ability to fly? What was that thing about him that was like super, for Superman, especially as a child growing up? What did you know him for uniquely? Okay, his slogan. As Scott says his slogan. Protector of truth, justice in the American way. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. All right, for me though, it's always his ability to fly. I love it so much. Okay, I just love that Superman could fly. From a child, I used to love that a lot. So I used to even dream, okay, myself flying, like lucid dreams. I would actually imagine I was flying. It's also why I love Iron Man movies because Iron Man then became able to fly. He made himself something by which he could fly. So I love the Iron Man series also because he could fly. Well, in Smallville, Superman didn't fly until almost the very end of the series. For like 7 years, from his teenage years until he became a young adult, he didn't actually fly. That's interesting, right? Yes, very. Even what's more interesting is Tara, his cousin, came from, well, she was discovered, okay, in this world. She could fly immediately. She was flying almost instantly, but Superman still couldn't fly. More interesting was there were many villains that actually came from Krypton who could fly instantly. They came into Earth's atmosphere. Superman still couldn't fly. At all these points, when others were flying and they could fly, he just wasn't flying. And every time he wondered why wasn't he flying or what could he do about it, his father always mentioned to him that he could, that he ought to, if he was living his potential or if he simply started to explore his own potential, that he could really fly. It's confusing actually. Got to a point I even began to wonder, could this guy ever fly? Until one day, when he went into the future, then he saw himself flying. His future self was flying. Like, my goodness. Whoa, you're flying, man. Yeah, sure. Whoa, you married the lady you love so much. Yeah, sure. Didn't you? Aren't you already in love with her now? Nah, I'm not. Aren't you flying already? Nah, I'm not flying. Don't be a dummy anymore. You can't do it. And that is also significant. I want you to pay attention to that. He saw who he was gonna be, right? In the movie, of course, they demonstrated that they're traveling into the future to do something there and come back to the past. But he saw who was gonna be, and that made him unlock his potential in the present. But why wasn't he flying, even though he had the potential to, even though he was really powerful, and even though he was even more special than all the other people that had appeared from Krypton, they were flying. It's the very same reason that many people today in this world even know about the law, okay, know all about magic, and even study it on a daily basis, but still are not accomplishing. Oh, really? Hold on a moment. Let me see. Thank you for letting me know. And got to. Can you hear me better now? Okay, thank you, thank you. So why was it that he was not flying? It's the same kind of reason that a lot of people today study the law. They know about imagination and assumption, but they still are not producing results. And it was simple. He felt guilty. That was why. Just simply, he felt guilty. Was it? He felt guilty and he never forgave himself. And his guilt started from a very young age. Let me share a brief experience of that story. In Smallville, what happened, the way the writer wrote it was this. When um, Clark Kent, Superman, when he arrived on Earth, he arrived with kryptonite. He arrived in his own spaceship. But yes, kryptonite was also sent with the spaceship, like from his home Krypton before it got destroyed. When he was traveling, some fragments of that rock followed him. So it was a meteor shower on Smallville that very day that he arrived. He in his spaceship, but also the rocks came with it. A lot of them. And because of the meteor shower, a lady called I've forgotten her name now. But she's not Louis Lane. She was basically the first love of Clark Kent. The first love of Clark Kent in Smallville, yes. So a name, yes, Lana Lang. So a lady named Lana Lang lost both of her parents that day. That's a name, Lana. I just checked it out. Lost both of her parents that day. I want you to just, if this story is something you could really grasp and then contemplate until we meet on Wednesday, and you really are able to get the importance of freeing yourself from guilt from it, it would suffice. So, Lana Lang was a very little girl at that time, just maybe like 3, 4 years old. And then the meteor shower came. She was saved because of um um her aunt, who actually quickly picked her out of the car. But her parents died in the truck because the one of the meteors hit them directly. So they died in the truck instantly. Now, Clark Kent learned, later saw Lana Lang, and he started loving her. He really liked her so much. A teenager boy and seeing a teenager girl and really liking her so much to the point of obsession. And then as he got close to Lana, who really liked him too, they started talking. Then Lana was talking about how she lost parents in the meteor shower. And what came upon Clark immediately? Guilt. Guilt. Guilt that his arrival on Earth had brought tragedy to the world. That because of him, a wonderful parent died. The person he loved so much actually didn't have parents and became orphaned just because of him. He felt the guilt. Of course, he kept it to himself, but he continued to pile on more and more and more guilt. Okay? Not only that, of course, he attracted more reasons to feel guilty. So when people became, had superpowers, their behavior were altered, their DNA was altered, and they began to have different kinds of powers because of kryptonite, because of the exposure to kryptonite. Every time someone did something bad because of the powers they got, I mean, it's their choice, right? They did it because they wanted to. He still felt guilty. It felt like it's because of him, because he came into this world and he had the kryptonite, and that was why he brought the kryptonite, and that was why these people were causing havoc to those people, were wreaking havoc. He just found everything else was only making sense to him from the point of guilt. So he felt bad about himself, and he felt guilty for the loss of Lana's parents, and definitely uh, for everything else that was tragedy that happened to all the people around him. The effect of that on him was he became unable to see the future, the future that we just described, that he was flying and it was so super powerful, and he married the love of his life, Louis Lane, right? That future, he became unable to see it because of the feeling of guilt. Do you know what the guilt did to him? It's basic. Every time he wanted to level up, he would actually only see how that leveling up, how that becoming more would wreak havoc to people around him. And he wouldn't want to do that because he wouldn't want to have more reasons to be guilty. And he felt like anytime he became more, he changed, or he became more powerful, or he had more power, somebody lost something. Something tragedy happened to someone. Something bad happened to people. And that's what he saw. Even if it's not necessarily true, that's how he interpreted all the events in his life. Guilt. And that was the only reason he wasn't flying. No stones in the world could keep the man down. No rocks you place on him. He's gonna fly it actually. If he wanted to, he could spin the earth out of the orbit. He could stop the earth in rotation if he wanted to. That's how powerful he is. Still, guilt was a rock heavier than any stone in this world, and it kept him down. He had to, however, overcome it one day when a very dangerous enemy came into the earth and wanted to devour all human beings. And if he couldn't fly, well, he wouldn't be able to defeat that enemy. But then, if he didn't remove the guilt in his heart, he couldn't even fly. And in fact, the enemy would consume him because the enemy only fed on people's darkest fears and instincts. So he had to confront himself and actually take away his own guilt. Stop feeling bad that he was, well,
if you would put it this way, born into this world, stop feeling bad for everything. How many of you here right now, have actually felt bad about that you were born into the families you were born into? You felt guilty for the experiences of your parents that they had because of you. You thought they had those experiences because of you, especially struggles. You felt like they had the struggles they had to face in their lives because of you. You felt like they had the discomfort in their lives because of you. You felt like you were a burden to them. You felt like you reduced their happiness. You took away from their joy, and you were the reason they even fought all times. And so you felt guilty. You know, if you were to ask Lana Lang, who lost her parents, if you were to ask her, hey, uh, would you prefer that you had your parents, but Superman never came into this world? She would, without thinking twice, she would say no. I'd prefer Superman to have come into this world because he's done more for this world than my parents could ever try to do. Even more for me than I could ever ask my parents to do. So I definitely would love him to come into this world. But he felt guilty. He punished himself. He felt bad. He judged himself at all times. And that was the only thing he could see in the world around him. That was the only thing he could see all around him. So it kept him down. He wasn't able to use his highest potential because of it. Just guilt. So if you have that same feeling and you're like, oh, I was born into my parents' house, I was born into my parents' family, it's my fault. I'm feeling guilty. I feel bad because now they're fighting, they're raising their voice, is because of me. They actually probably fought because of you. You know, like the maybe dad was saying we're gonna do X, and mom was saying no, it's going to be Y, and dad was saying that's what she has caused. That's what he has caused. We should rather have done X. It's because of him that because of her that we can't do X anymore. Now we've got to do Y. And the mom was saying, that's she's our child, he's our child. We can't push him aside. And then they fought. Or maybe it was mom wanted to do something else, and dad said, but we've got our child to factor in. And then they fought. Or maybe, or maybe there are people like this, okay? When the mom was giving birth to them, mom died, okay, in the process of the childbirth. So only the dad raised them, or sometimes even family members. Maybe the dad wasn't around. Maybe the dad died too. So family members raised them. And then they carry on the guilt that, oh, the guilt of having taken the lives of their mom. I want you to promise yourself that however much that guilt makes sense to you, that you will free yourself from it completely. Just why should you free yourself from? No reasons, no why, no nothing. Just want to be free from it completely. And consequently, be free to live the highest potential within you. Because every time that you felt guilty because you thought you did something or you caused something or you made something happen to your parents, or to your family, or it was because you were in their lives that something was happening which they didn't like or something was difficult for them. Every time you did that, you're only robbing not only yourself but the rest of the world. You're robbing everybody the opportunity to experience your own potentials. The only reason it's not the feeling of guilt itself. Okay, guilt. So this is not like removing the block of guilt. It's actually what it does, what it makes you do. Let's put it that way, or what you use it to do. Guilt is a very perfect excuse to use to feel bad, right? Number one, feeling bad. Number two, a perfect excuse to actually stay stuck. How? How? What do you mean stuck? In other words, to imagine things from the past forever and ever and ever. Like, think of it this way. If Clark Kent approaches Lana Lang and sees Lana Lang from afar and approaches her, what do you think Clark Kent is thinking? Oh, she's so beautiful. Oh, that's my girlfriend. Oh, I'd love to date her. Is that what he's thinking? No. What is he thinking? Oh, yeah, I'm so powerful. Oh, I can protect her. Oh, I'm gonna love her all my life and I'm gonna protect her and she's going to feel so safe. No, that's not what he's thinking. Do you know what he's thinking? I caused the death of her parents when I came on earth. That's what he's thinking. So he's not thinking, he's not seeing, he's not imagining the future. As much as he wants all of that, he wants to be happy, yes, he's going to tell you. But he's not imagining the future, he's imagining the past. More importantly, a past he doesn't even want to happen again. And that's the feeling of guilt stopping him. Guilt kept you imagining your past, which is not your potential. No matter. See, if you became a billionaire today, then that's not your potential anymore because you already became it. You now have potential for more. Like you can become a billionaire multiple folds, or you can then become something else. That's why some billionaires, for example, just love to expand to other places or love to do certain projects that are like incredibly um, crazy. It's because they already eat the potential of being a billionaire. It's no longer a potential to them. If you are feeling guilty, you keep yourself stuck in the past. But let me tell you, well, the secret for me to dissolving my guilt is this. I went, oh, imagination did all of this. And imagination did it so it could have mercy on all. That's actually in the Bible, Romans 11, verse 32. It says, God consigned all men to disobedience that he may have mercy on all. And I just went, oh, wow. If God consigned me to disobedience, I couldn't have done otherwise. No one could have acted otherwise. So I feel guilty, or why crucify anyone on the cross and make them feel bad? Because they couldn't have done otherwise. They couldn't, even if you're like, oh, but they should know better. No, they couldn't have known better. If they knew better, they couldn't have done better. If they had tried to do better, well, the circumstances would have made whatever better they do look like it wasn't significant or important. Anything that would make it useless for them to have done what they did would actually happen. So I just go, okay. So why feel guilty if God consigned all to disobedience? So just have mercy on yourself and on everyone. That's what I want you to do today. Have mercy on yourself and on everyone, but especially on yourself. What if you had mercy on yourself? What if you forgave yourself? What if you stopped seeing those things that happened, those things that you did as bad, and you just simply had mercy? What if you weren't punishing yourself anymore? Because you could just have been punishing yourself all this while by feeling guilty, which guaranteed that you're definitely um not imagining the life you wanted. What if you forgive yourself for all of that? Okay, so contemplate that, and we're going to meet on Wednesday, same place and same time. Until then, bye bye, everyone.